What up? This is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of The Punisher Season 2. Now, I'm not gonna do this jump cut style with editing and whatnot because I just want to do this one take straight up for you guys. So it's gonna take a while here because I'll be discussing the entire season. The season has about 13 episodes. Now, first up, just a few rules here. Because I signed the NDA form. Thank you to Marvel and Netflix for granting me the screeners. But I signed the NDA form promising them that I will not be spilling any spoilers in my review of this series. I'm sorry, season 2. And maybe once the episodes launch globally on Netflix, which will be January 18th, maybe we'll discuss some of the details of each episode. But right now, I have promised them that I will not share any spoilers in my first off review of the season 2. So this will be more of a bird's eye view, kind of give you my general thoughts of the whole season. But I'll start with sharing with you where each of the characters is, him and her, at the start of the season 2. But I will not be revealing twists and turns or where they will be halfway through and who gets killed and who survives and who dies. No, I'm gonna of course I will not reveal those things in this video. But okay, before I give you my, again, bird's eye view general thought about the entire season 2, let me share with you where they are right now at the start of it. So Frank Castle, he is in a certain place in his life right now where he's trying to find some kind of predictability, trying to find some routine, kind of like trying to live like everybody else's regular life, I don't know if that's possible because, he's the Punisher, he's Frank Castle. But that's where he is right now. He's at the bar and he meets this beautiful bartender played by one of my favorite actresses, Alexa Davos. She's from the Man in the High Castle series, I believe. Yeah, she's gorgeous. So, of course, the usual macho Frank Castle would defend the bartender from drunk, rowdy, patron, and so that's how they strike up conversation and they like each other. It's so typical of Frank has to like defend the honor of the woman from from people who are touchy. So my point is that the writers are like, okay, what is the most stereotypical macho way that we can get these two people to meet? A way to introduce Frank Castle to Alexa Davos' character. Oh yes, we'll have him save the day. Of course, Alexa Davos' character in her own right is pretty strong and independent. She's a single mom, by the way. So the pilot episode mostly deals with them getting to know each other, and at this point in his life, Frank Castle assumes a new identity, because again, he doesn't want to be associated with the Punisher and Frank Castle. He wants to see if he can, be regular again, be normal again. And I gotta be honest with you, the pilot episode is super slow. It is super slow. Building up that relationship between them and building that trust between them, it takes time. And you know what, I'm not complaining because I appreciate how the writers really flesh out and explore these two. But it's funny because you would think that for a series like The Punisher, you would go out or start out with a bang, with a pilot episode, bam, 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 murders and chaos and everything. But it's not so much. Not so much. It gets there though. It gets there because enters the second Sears regular character in this season 2, and her name is Amy. She's played by young actress. Let me get her name here on my screen. I don't want to forget, or I don't want to butcher her name incorrectly. Georgia Wiggum. Now, if the last name rings any bell, it's because she is the daughter of actor Shea Wiggum from Boardwalk Empire. Uh, he is a veteran actor in this business. You go look him up, and you'll know who I'm talking about here. Okay, let me see. Oh, there you go. Yeah, he's been in a lot of movies and series. Shea Wiggum's daughter. So Georgia plays Amy, and Amy is supposed to be like a teenager, um, a runaway, if you will. She was hanging about with a bunch of other kids her age. Um, I guess being con artists and tricking other people for money. So she has tricks up her sleeves, and so the story starts out in season 2 with her possessing something that a certain fundamentalist group is looking after. I mean, like is chasing after. You know, they're chasing after this object that she is in possession of. And so she stumbles upon the bar that Frank Castle happens to be in, with, of course, Alexa Davos' character. And Frank Castle's protective instinct, kicks in. So he can smell, or he can notice whenever women and children are in trouble. Is that chivalrous thing going on that he has. Um, so he can sense that whoever this stranger girl, that's walking about in the bar, um, she looks like she's feeling unsafe. She's always looking over her shoulder and stuff like that. And so throughout this season 2, you get to know more about what it is that this object that she's in possession of. I'm not gonna reveal it to you here. That's, of course, that's part of the spoiler, which I will not discuss here. But that's where the snowball gets rolling. It gets bigger and bigger, and things get more complicated because of the people that are looking for this object. And yeah, so that's the second character. The other character, of course, the one that returns, one of them is Agent Medina, Special Agent Medina. In season 1, as my fellow Punisher fans would remember, that she had a relationship with Billy Russo. She kind of fell for Billy Russo's tricks until she figured out that Billy Russo was bad. And if you remember, at the carousel scene in that season 1, episode 13, um, she got shot by Billy Russo. Billy Russo was in the middle of the fight with Frank Castle, and she tried to intervene, and she got shot. And of course, as you know, this is not spoiler. You've seen season 1. Frank Castle pushes Billy Russo's head against the mirror and pretty much scars him, and hence Jigsaw. So FBI agent Miranda is not really prominent in pilot episode. She'll becomes more and more prominent as the season 2 progresses. Because she's trying to get over this. I'm sorry, I keep messing with the microphone here. She keeps trying to not mess with. She keeps trying to deal with her. She's so frustrated. She's like, oh my God, I feel so dumb that I got used by Billy Russo. So she keeps like showing up at the bedside of Billy Russo, because remember, Billy Russo is in the hospital, right? Because his face is scarred and he's injured. So she keeps showing up. She's trying to. She can't get over that. She can't get over the fact that I'm a special agent. I'm supposed to be able to know these things, or at least have the instinct to. And I got used by Billy Russo, and I feel mad at myself, mad at Billy Russo, and she's trying to deal with that, and she's having a hard time dealing with that. And she is very, very obsessed with taking down Billy Russo. That becomes her focus or center of the universe in season 2. The other character also the psychiatrist. Okay, before we get to Billy Russo, psychiatrist. Her name is she's new in the season 2. Her name is Krista. She is played by actress Florina Lima. You may have remembered her from Lethal Weapon series or Supergirl series. She played Alex Danvers, yeah, Alex Danvers' girlfriend in Supergirl, and she played Martin Riggs' dead wife in Lethal Weapons season 1 and 2. Back when Clayne Crawford was part of Lethal Weapon. So anyway, she plays the psychiatrist here, trying to help Billy Russo. Now, the psychiatrist and the patient relationship here um, is, I mean, it kind of, for me, as a fan of the Sopranos series, it kind of reminds me of the relationship between Tony Soprano and his psychiatrist, Dr. Melvi. Um, but as the season 2 progresses, you will see that Krista becomes more and more involved with the overarching arc of the story at hand. Whereas, Tony Soprano and his psychiatrist, they're mostly, it's like a procedural thing. You see their scenes mostly in her office, and that's it. Whereas Krista, she, let's just say without spoiling details, she has a hand in the conclusion of Agent Medina's story in season 2. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, the other character before we get to Billy Russo. Okay, so I'm just giving you the context here for where the characters are at the start of season 2. Josh Stewart, actor Josh Stewart, one of my favorite actors. He's been in a lot of horror films like The Collector, The Collection, and of course Insidious: The Last Key last year. A very familiar face in the horror genre. He plays John Pilgrim. Pilgrim is this, for lack of a better word, he's a hitman. He's a hitman sent by the people or the fundamentalist organization that wanted that object that Amy, the girl Amy, is in possession of. So Amy has that thing, and then the fundamentalist sends hitman John Pilgrim to go after it, to go after her. So that's the context. That's where he comes in. And my God, dude, John Pilgrim is he's a man of a few words. He's a soft-spoken man, but boy, you do not want to get on his bad side, because even though he believes in God and and the whole thing, that I mean, he's a great hitman. Let's just put it that way. He's an assassin to be reckoned with. All right, so he's very trained, very skilled, very good at what he does. So again, you do not want to get on his bad side. So that's the context of John Pilgrim, and there are more layers about him that get revealed, that get peeled over the course of this season 2. So he's not one-dimensional. He's very complicated, and he shares some things in common with Frank Castle, in terms of family or love of the ones that are closest or nearest or dearest to you. So I'll just leave it at that. All right. So the next character is Billy Russo. That's right. Billy Russo, of course, it's back. He's back. Billy Russo is back, and played once again by the fantastic Ben Barnes. Famously known for his role as Prince Caspian, of course, in the Narnia movies. He was amazing in season 1. He was a great bad guy in season 1. Billy Russo and Rollins, and in season 2, as you know, as I said earlier, at the end of season 1, he gets scarred by Frank Castle. So in season 2, you see him recuperating. That's why in the preview, in the trailer, you see him wearing masks or a mask that he himself kind of finger paints, and it looks cool. The mask kind of looks like Day of the Dead kind of mask, kind of like a skull thing, but in a very artsy way. Um, so yeah, he's feeling the pain of the scars on his face, and throughout the first few episodes, you see him kind of getting treated by his psychiatrist Krista, whom I mentioned earlier. So in the first few episodes, mostly you see Billy Russo in the hospital dealing with his pain, frustrated and angry. And here's some thing that you need to know. He doesn't remember. He doesn't remember the clash that he had with Frank Castle at the carousel. I guess the injury is so bad that he kind of has amnesia, and so Krista, not only does he want to kind of help him restore his memory, but she wants him to deal with, like, because Krista is an idealist. Krista believes that there is good in anybody, like every life is worth saving. That's the opposite of Frank Castle, right? Whereas Frank Castle is a judge, jury, and executioner. He's like, he decides, like, okay, if somebody is too far gone, or if that somebody is still worth salvaging or saving. But in Krista's, sorry, my microphone is testing. Okay, in Krista's mind, whew, everybody's worth saving. Even like a cat or an ant is worth saving. Okay, so that gullibility is gonna cost her in this season too. I'll leave that at that. Okay, so those are some of the series regulars characters that you'll see in this new season two. So I'll give you my bird's eye view general thought now. And I have my notes here. First of all, I I had my doubts at first, or I had my concerns. Concerns is the right word, because when they introduce Amy, the character Amy, the girl, uh, and kind of include her in Frank Castle's world, I'm like, okay, this is not good, because this means that Frank Castle is gonna be on babysitting duty. The last time I saw that on the screen was I'm sorry, not Josh Brolin, Benicio del Toro and Isabella Moner in Sicario Day of Soldado, and I hated that. I hated how they put Benicio del Toro on babysitting duty in that sequel movie. So I was like, oh man, no, no, don't treat Frank Castle like a babysitter. But come episode 2 and 3, I kind of understand why the writers kind of put Amy in Frank Castle's life, or in Frank Castle's universe, I guess you could say. Because in this season 2, they want to make Frank Castle feel like a parent again. They want to emphasize that side of Frank Castle that cares about women and children, to the point where, okay, now this young girl could be like Frank Castle's daughter figure, you know, so somebody that he will be protective of, that somebody that he would be that he would be kill that he would that he would kill people for, somebody that he would kill people for. So and that works. That works out, actually. Yeah, there's some sort of a father-daughter kind of moment that a bit forced. Kind of like if, as an audience, you feel like, oh, I don't know if that kind of topic should be brought up, in their conversation. But and then there'll be other scenes when it's like, oh, it makes sense. It makes totally sense, and I'm glad that that topic was brought up earlier. um, because it fits the context or the story at hand in that particular episode. So that's some. I guess my point is that my concern sort of subsides as the story progresses in the season 2, and I'm beginning, more and more I'm beginning to accept the fact that that's a good thing that um, that they put Amy in Frank Castle's life. That it's not just about babysitting duty; it's more than just that. Um, Another thing on my note here, the fundamentalist thing. Okay, so if you are wondering, okay, Rama, is the season 2 still about Frank Castle versus Billy, or is it more about Frank Castle versus the fundamentalists? Represented by John Pilgrim, their assassin, their hitman. To tell you the truth, it's a bit of both. Um, it starts out with Frank Castle versus Pilgrim, the fundamentalists, and then in the middle, a big chunk of the middle, it becomes Frank Castle versus Billy again. Frank Castle, Billy. And at the end, it's sort of like morphs into like, okay, let's try to have Frank Castle juggle both. Now, the fundamentalist thing is very, 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 very interesting, though. I don't want to spill details and spoilers out. I need to be careful about the words I'm going to be putting out here. But it reminds me of that HBO show Big Love. Remember that? Because it's more when it comes to like cult or religious fundamentalists, um, like Scientologists, for example. It's not necessarily about religion. It's more about power, um, control over somebody, control over a family, or power to leave your legacy on this earth, a dent so hard that you can see it up and from above. It's more about that. It's more about power, as instead about religion or bestowing wisdom, and that's the angle that the writers of Punisher season 2 takes. And so it's just interesting because I grew up in a conservative Christian family. It's interesting throughout the season 2 to see how the writers kind of inject or incorporate certain Bible verses or certain hymns or certain biblical quotes through John Pilgrim or through the people that send him, uh, as a way for those characters to rationalize or to justify their actions, which goes to show that you can cherry pick whatever verse you like in the Bible to justify your actions. Unfortunately, so and I think that's smartly done in this season 2. Smartly done. It makes you feel squeamish, about religion and brainwashed cult kind of stuff. So it's like, oh my god, it's like those guys are weird. I don't know if the season 2 is sort of a social commentary about that, but it does have that connotations. Another thing on my note here, uh, if I guess a part of me also, because I talked with my fellow fans prior to screening the season 2, uh, friends who also are fans of season 1, and they're like, they saw the trailer, they saw the preview, and it's like they feel like, oh my gosh, Jigsaw is not really Jigsaw. All right, by that they mean it's not the Jigsaw that they know from the comic books or the cartoons or even that movie Punisher Warzone. So and yes, if you see the trailer or the preview, they show Billy Russo with a mask on, and also they show Billy Russo's face in the trailer preview, and the scars are not too prominent on his face. So, but don't get disappointed by that, okay? Um, because in Daredevil season 3, Bullseye origin is not necessarily like the Bullseye from the comic books either. See, this is what I like about the writers of these Netflix Marvel shows, is that they really, really try their best, and I think they do a good job at it, of making these characters grounded. All right, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, and Frank Castle, Punisher, and Jigsaw, to make them appear or be like people who could be uh, living amongst us. You know what I'm saying? They could be our next door neighbor. They could be, so they're not too fantastical. You know what I'm saying? So you know, making Billy Russo and Frank Castle be like in a brotherhood of military service or the Marines. That's something that is kind of like, can be. That's something that's grounded, and that's something that people can relate to. Maybe people have families who have served, and so they can also tackle uh, topics like PTSD and camaraderie, and so because of that brotherhood things, because of that brotherhood thing, the betrayal when that happens, it hurts even more. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a really good approach. So in defense of Punisher series, I must say that I like it. I like this, making it all grounded. And also another thing on my note, I got to talk about the violence and the the graphic violence as far as Punisher is concerned. I mentioned in season one, of course, what I love about the season one is that it did not hold back. A lot of people, a lot of viewers, a lot of critics out there were angry at season one because Frank Castle actually shot up and killed those construction workers. Remember in the first two episodes, I believe. And my defense for Frank Castle is like, dude, that's Frank Castle. You gotta let Frank Castle be Frank Castle. Frank Castle is not Daredevil, Frank Castle actually kills. So that's his brand of justice. And in season two, what I like about it is that the consequence of those killings haunt Frank Castle. There's just he's not just like bam bam kill and then walks on. He walks on and that's it. No, there's this Detective Mahoney that keeps kind of like sort of like he's like a ghost hanging over Frank Castle. It's like a bug in Frank Castle's ass. Like he keeps like, I'm the law. Like I observe the law. The law and American justice is some says that you got to bring these people to court. You can't just kill them on the streets. So Detective Mahoney represents that consequence that, in a way, certain times kind of makes you feel frustrated because you want to see Frank Castle like be unleashed, and you keep seeing this Detective Mahoney on his ass. It's like, oh, why does he keep showing up? But I like that Detective Mahoney fits into that whole thing with what that I say about the story being grounded and feels like something that could happen in our neighborhood. Um, so I like that. I like that approach. Um, there are a couple of episodes that are my favorite. I'm not gonna tell you the details of it because that would be spoilers. But the episodes involve a lot of shootouts, and my God, dude, holy crap! Uh, you know how I do reviews of The Walking Dead or video recaps of The Walking Dead, and sometimes I would kind of comment on um, Rick Grimes and his gang's use of weaponry or use of guns. Well, in season two, holy crap! If you are a gun aficionado or somebody who knows a lot about weapons or firepower, you are gonna love season two. I don't even know the names and the types of these weapons, but there are so many. There are so many guns. There and like at one point, John Pilgrim, Josh Stewart's character, John Pilgrim, um, reaches into his bag, and his bag got all various kinds of weapons and guns. Not just one or two, but three, like machine guns and all kinds of like. And then Frank Castle has his own artillery, and bam, dude, it's just amazing, amazing. If you are fans of Second Amendment, you are gonna love uh, the Punisher season two. I guarantee you that. As far as the fights go, what I love about this is that Because, Frank Castle is not like Daredevil. Frank Castle doesn't have, how Daredevil has his senses, right? And he has his martial art wushu, or like Iron Fist has his martial art as well. And Jessica Jones, she has superhuman strength, and Luke Cage, on top of being superhuman strength, he is also bulletproof. Well, Frank Castle does not have any of those, so that's another thing that I like about Frank Castle. Frank Castle, the way he deals with bad guys is something that kind of feels like, again, it can really have, if a normal person beats up another guy, it would look like that. It would look like that. That's so there's nothing smooth about the fighting styles in Punisher season 2. I guess you could probably an argument can be made that it might look like Krav Maga, but it's mostly, dude, grapple and wrestle and oh my God, I just see a lead pipe there. I'm gonna pick up that lead pipe and bash it against his head. That kind of stuff, like whatever that you can reach or find around you, and it's punch, 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 and throw him against the wall, throw him through the mirror. It's just brutal, chaotic. It's fantastic. It's so bloody, man, so bloody. There are times when there are episodes in which Frank Castle gets so injured, you feel like, holy crap, that's it. He'll tap out, right? He'll tap out. But no, he gets back up again. Wow. You'll be surprised as to, as far as the supporting characters go, as to which ones that the writers decide that they will survive, and which one that they decide, those ones will die. You'll be surprised. There'll be plenty of that surprises. Those surprises this season too. So yeah, the fighting styles, man, it's so. What's the word I'm looking for here? This is the word I use on Twitter. I said it's satisfying. It's satisfying. This season 2 is satisfying. Now I'm not gonna lie to you. There are some slow episodes, mostly in the middle, mostly dealing with dialogues and conversation between two people. But those are actually good things because you get to know them. You get to know if they have something to lose or if they have nothing to lose, and you will feel for them even more when they get hurt or when they get betrayed. And those slow episodes also allow you to understand that, hey, even the bad guys are not that simple to dissect. They there are shades about them that want also happiness, just like the happiness that you and I and everybody desires to have. So I think fantastic job on the writer's part, on the showrunner's part as well on season 2. It's bloodier and more satisfying than season 1, definitely, for sure. My God, lots of bullets flying everywhere. This is Frank Castle unleashed. Whenever he tells somebody, whenever he gets handcuffed, because he gets handcuffed a couple of times in this, or more than a couple of times in this season 2, he would say, like, set me loose, set me loose, set me loose, unleash this cuffs, unleash this knot, set me loose. Oh my God. And when he is set loose, boy, he is bringing hell with him, man. And you do not want to get in his way. So yeah, awesome season 2. Love it. I can't wait for all of you guys to also watch it come January 18th when Punisher season 2 officially launches globally on Netflix. Go check it out. Go watch it. It's a must-see. Must-see, I tell you. Must-see. All right? That's it. That's my review of Marvel Netflix The Punisher Season 2. Share your thoughts in the comment section below and share this video with all your friends on the YouTubeverse. And as always, subscribe to my channel, ring that bell, press that like button. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. By the way, Ramascreen is also now available as a podcast on audio on both iTunes and Spotify. That's it. Let's rock this.